Did a sublimation mat for my daughter. I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna do some washcloths. So this is 100% polyester bath mat. I got it from Amazon, and I'll link it below in the comments below in the thing. I always forget what it's called. Anywho, these are from Dollar Tree. You get a pack of 4 microfiber washcloths. They're 100% polyester. So I can do a little design on this for her as well. So, but today I have to get a few more shirts embroidered. That's what we will be doing today. I have to do the test run first because test runs are the best way to go. You don't test run, you're asking for it. I usually try to use scrap pieces of let me see if this will fit. I don't like using brand new pieces of stabilizer to test run on, but I don't know. Anyway, I think we'll be okay. I think this will work. It's just to help get a feel for whether or not listen, y'all. This is what I do. You do not have to do it. But this is just so that I don't have to waste whole pieces of stabilizer. Yes, we do teach it. I'm all over the place. Like I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna run over here. Ooh, I'm gonna run over here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Yeah. I don't recommend it, but anyway. So just a little, just a little, just a little, just a little, just a little. Okay. I'm just doing this so I have something to. Let's see. I think I'm only gonna do it just right. It's just a few scrap pieces of stabilizer cutaway. I'm gonna use just to do a test run on because I don't want to waste brand new pieces of stabilizer. It is what it is. Okay, it's gonna go in that way. Let's make sure this isn't too loose. We're good. Actually, I think I would like to do this. Okay. All right. And it would help if I had my if I had my thumb drive, so I could actually load my graphics. I gotta go get that. I mean, it's only a few steps away, but got this handy dandy needle nose plier from the manufacturer that I purchased my multi-needle from. I have a 12 needle by multi-needle commercial embroidery machine. I think I just said multi-needle like a bunch of times in a row. I guess understood when you say 12 needles, it's multi-needle. But yeah, they send you a whole toolbox with all these cool tools in it. I mean, most that I understand, most manufacturers do. So you literally get a toolbox with stuff in it and a whole bunch of tools. I mean, like it's like legit tools and extra parts. Because the other thing you have to understand is that when you decide that you want to go the commercial embroidery route, the realization that a lot of people don't realize, or they may not have had a chance to run into this point, once they decide, while they're doing their research and while they're deciding, they don't realize that you're literally like becoming also to some extent, not really, really, but to some extent a technician. Because listen, when stuff happens and things aren't working, and sometimes it's just user error. It's just like, oh, the wrong button was pressed or wasn't pressed, whatever it is. Or a screw needs to be tightened, or because these machines vibrate. Some screws loosen, parts have to be adjusted, tightening has to be done periodically. That's just part of maintenance. A lot of people don't realize that these like type of things, these daily maintenance or routine maintenance checks need to be done. So when they do realize that after they've already received the machine, especially if that's something they really didn't want to sign up for. Okay, we're good. It becomes a kind of like they regret buying the machine, buyer's remorse. It becomes buyer's remorse. So I say that's to say, this is no joke. Like, if you start embroidering, I have a PE 770. That's what I started off with. And I was just like, things started picking up. And I was like, you know what? It's time. I needed a multi-needle. And we need to just go ahead and make that investment. So, it's something worth considering. Because I had to consider it. So as I was saying, I've just lost train of thought because I came over here to look for my USB and I totally I guess I lost track. But yeah, it's one of the things you need to consider, that a lot of times, not that technicians aren't readily available to help you, and it also depends on which company you go with, excuse me. I went with Buy. Buy is based overseas in China. They do have some warehouses here in South California, Southern California, and also in, I believe, Houston, Texas. My machine came from Houston. So there are technicians. I'm part of the Buy Facebook group. They actually have two, and I'm part of both. And they are readily available. If they see you ask a question, they're readily available to, answer your questions and stuff like that. So I want to make sure you guys can see the machine as I'm fiddling with it. Okay, you can. But yeah, they want to help. And even there's admins in the groups who want to help. So you end up leaning on them. You also, which is strongly, strongly, strongly encouraged. They want you to become self-sufficient in searching for your question first, because the thing is, these Facebook groups, excuse me, have been up for a sufficient amount of time. I mean, sufficient is the wrong word. For a lengthy amount of time, like over a year, over maybe even 2 years, over 3 years. So when you go into the group to, sorry guys, my brain is trying to multitask and it just went into nope status. My brain, that is, not the machine. So when you go into these groups, they encourage you, and they also throw out periodic reminders. Listen, guys, some of these questions you're asking, or if you're new, we suggest you go search the question first. Do your research. And if once you do that and you can't find the answer, okay, then go ahead and post your question. Very nice group. They want to help, but they also want to help you become self-reliant. So you're not stuck, let's say at 2 a.m, trying to work your machine and you don't get an answer right away and you feel like you're stuck. Well, meanwhile, the answer is already floating in that group stratosphere. And you didn't know it. You didn't realize it. So something to think about there. But yeah, you really do become you have to become a technician in all honesty. So it's just something to think about. But let's see what this is going to do. right, we're looking good. Whenever you do a test, you always do a needle test. Make sure that whatever needle you're going to use does not bump into your frame. Guys, let me tell you something. I got holes in my needles when I first used my machine. Oh God, yeah, I was learning hard, long and hard. But this is a learning curve. But I was still learning, and man, didn't adjust things right, and the needle went straight into my frame. Speaking of frame, I've already done maintenance. The machine has oil in it. It's maintenance. You put oil in the bobbin area because if you run in this sucker or it's been a few days, you want to make sure that you have oil in there so that you're not causing any unneeded friction. Trying to make sure I don't block you guys. Shameless plug, Psalms 91 Customs. Okay. Check us out on our Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe, guys. Like the video. Please subscribe. We really love to have you. But yeah, we have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have Twitter. Why do I keep calling it Twitter? We do not have Twitter, guys. I'm sorry. TikTok. We have TikTok. Not so heavy on the TikTok as I am on Instagram, but we would still love to have you either way, because I know sometimes people prefer TikTok over Instagram, and I make sure to share the same content between the two platforms no matter what. So just in case. But yeah, so tightening up your arms, doing your oil before every use. You may even, depending on how much you're using the machine during the day, you may have to oil more than once, anywhere up to 3 times possibly. That's what's recommended. But back to the group thing and becoming self-sufficient in your machine and not always needing a technician for simple things. When you go into the Facebook group, they also have a file section. You can actually go in, and there's like files for embroidery files and PDFs that walk you through certain things, and a testing, like a thread testing, tension test. Excuse me. They have, I think there might be even 2 different tension test files in the file section. So when I say file, I mean it is a DST. I think that's the correct. Yeah, DST is a DST file that you can download to your computer, load on your USB, and pull it up on your machine and actually run a tension test, because this is also part of the maintenance of your machine. Not only do you want to do a tension test before you even start embroidering on your machine, which I went through the full 12 needle. Like, I know I could have been like, I'm just using the first 3 needles. Let me just tension test on the first 3. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to tension test everything, get it out the way. Not that you won't have to finagle a few things depending on how long and how much vibration runs through the machine, and maybe changes things, because that's what happens with machines in general. But they have all these resources. But I went ahead and did the 12 needle to get it out the way. This is one of the this is a needle position file they offer on the group. I printed it off. It might be a little too big, but it still gives you your 15 degrees. So your needles, when you put them in, the eye of the needle, the eye is where the thread goes through, does not go straight forward. It has to be on a slight angle, specifically 15 degrees. So your center line is like the center, pretty much like this is the hole where your needle goes in to grab your bobbin thread. So that's dead center. So when you line this up with your hole where the needle goes in to grab the bobbin thread, you'll know that if your needle isn't facing in this direction, I literally do like this. I mean, obviously I don't have not with the hoop. I don't do this with the hoop, y'all, but I'm just doing it because I don't want to take my hoop off. But when you do like this, that means, and right now I'm on needle 1. So my needle is facing this way right now. Like, it's literally the whole of the needle at the bottom is facing this line. It's pointing in the direction of that line, that 15-degree line. So these are the really great resources, and it's good to know that that's there, because actually for a little while I had no clue they had a file section. So I'm learning myself, but just something to think about. So we are gonna run a test on this file because I did a shirt. This is from my brother. I love you, Dante. I love you so much. I'm like, I want to do the shirts and get it out of the way. And he's like, okay, whatever, just do it. And then I did it and I love it, but I don't love it. So I don't know what that means. So I redid the file, and this is what it looks like. But yeah, I also use disappearing ink, water soluble ink. So that helps me to find my center point, and then I make sure that my laser on my machine lines up with the center point once the garment is in the hoop, and then it lets me know that this is gonna, run. It's gonna run properly. It's gonna stitch properly. But I ended up redoing it because I felt like it's nice, but it probably could be better. So I'm trying to I'm test running the new file. That is what I am doing. Um, because what I'm not gonna do is sit here and act like this is not important. So here we go. I'm gonna let that run. I'll check that in a few. I need to hoop a new shirt. Now the other thing I would like to mention is that I mark my hoops, y'all. Because listen, when you're first learning machines and stuff, look, I don't know what these things are. So I have two sets of hoops. So I've already marked one, but I have the size of the hoop on the hoop. And also this is what in the machine, they have the hoop set up as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or whatever. And this is hoop E, which is specifically 100 by 100, I believe. Is it centimeters or millimeters or something like that? I think it's millimeters. 100 by 100 millimeters, but I'll double check. Either way, this is the measurement that the machine recognizes hoop as, and this is the actual measurement in inches. So I've marked mine, so I don't feel, stupid when I look at them. And I haven't done my second set yet, so I have to do that. I have to mark them, but another thing I do to help me move a little more efficiently is I use my basting adhesive, my spray and bond. I don't know if you guys can see that. Ooh, I don't want it to be too far in your face. Let's see if I can adjust my light. I use my basting adhesive to adhere the, oh no. Okay, my hoop just kind of slipped in the box. I was like, what's that noise? I secure the, stabilizer to the inside of the shirt, because let me tell you something. I have not ordered my Mighty Hoop yet. I was supposed to. Haven't done it yet. I plan to, but until then, I put I spray the shirts. Oh, what's under here? I spray the shirt and glue. I secure the stabilizer down, and I do use two sheets because he's a paying customer. I don't care whose brother he is. He's mine. I do care. He's mine. He's my brother. I guess I said that in the manner of, oh, it's not that serious. It's just my brother. No, he's a paying customer. He's gonna get top quality from his sister. I go ahead. I spray. I put it down. I spray. I put it down, and I double it up. And this actually makes it easier for me to position the hoop before I secure it down. Y'all, I'm seriously like, wait, which side am I supposed to put this in? Oh, okay. So it's gonna go on this side. The other thing that actually kind of sort of worked was just doing a half sheet. I was able to do a half sheet. And one time I watched another vlog. I forget who it was. It may have been Angela Jasmina. Listen, okay? Angela is everything. So you come up over here, I'm gonna be talking about Angela. She's motivation. She's the reason I'm in this mess. No, I'm joking. I mean, she is one of the reasons why one day I woke up and was like, enough. I need something for us. So but yeah, so what I do is I I do double up, but I take two halves or take one and cut it in half, and then I do this. Okay? So this not only gives me the coverage I need, but it's also a very strong because this is a stabilizer that has the little cross, the I don't know if you can see it. It's like the little crosses. It's a has a texture to it, and that actually provides strength to the shirt. So when you use it, and then when you double it up, it's like Hulk. So yeah, I do that. That's what I do. You ain't got to do that. You don't have to do that, but that's what I do. Okay, so I am just I'm still moving and shaking. I'm like my brain is not done. Step one, step two. Did you skip step two? Please move back. Go back one step. Okay, so the other thing is with measuring. With measuring, I use a lot of my table, the edge of my table, to help me like figure out what the heck make sure stuff is straight. So I eyeball the straightness of the shirt. But you really can tell usually when you're like, okay, this is a little crooked. I go to the top of the shirt where it meets it with where the collar is sewn to it, and I come down. And make sure that the ruler, whatever the ruler lines up with the edge of the table. Because I know the edge of the table is straight. So I'm using that to my advantage. So, to my benefit. So, from here to here, it's 16. That's not really the important part. The important part is that the line for the 16 lines up perfectly with the edge of the table. And that lets me know that not only that the ruler is straight, but the shirt is straight. And even to double check, I can go on this side, put it on this side, and bam, it's 16 over here as well. The edge of the table where the shirt is cascading off the edge is at 16. All right. So now I know the shirt is straight. I know the ruler is giving me, its ruler stuff. So then we're going to I usually go to about the top of the button. It really depends on your client. Like me and my brother, I was like, "What do you want?" And he was like, "I don't know, I don't care." And he was like, "Crickets." And then I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna choose the higher one because I actually gave him two choices." But it ended up that instead of going like 8 1/4, that 8 was a little better. It just ended up, yeah, it was like 8 1/4. That actually, it was more like 7 1/4, 8, 7 1/4, 8, somewhere. But it puts the center of the logo lined up with the top of the button, the lowest button. So there's 3 buttons on this polo. The lowest button, usually you could, depending on the style of the graphic and stuff like that, you can kind of put it so that the center of it lines up with the button itself. The bottom of the button, the top of the button. There's also like things you could buy that help you with this type of thing. So you can get like a kind of like a placement tool that helps you with this. I ain't got that. I just don't. So we're gonna go ahead and use what I know works, and which is, oh, this looks good. No, I'm joking, y'all. I mean, this is typically the gauge that when you do your research and you're researching logo placement and the best materials for certain types of designs, whether it's a thread heavy design or if it has empty spaces in it, and those empty spaces, the shirt makes up the difference. And when you do your research, they give you a gauge, and the gauge includes about 8 inches down and then 4 inches over from the button into the shirt. So I end up usually somewhere between 8 1/4, depending on the size of the shirt too. That's another thing that you have to take into consideration. The size of the shirt. Like this is a medium. This is a medium polo. So on here, 8 inches, 8 inches looks pretty good. But if I go to like a 2XL, I might find myself getting a little closer to the 9 inch mark. Not necessarily 9 inches, but just getting closer to it. So it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so I think we're gonna do, and I once again I use this. I got this from Walmart. It's disappearing ink. The purple is disappearing ink, but sometimes it don't disappear. You still have to get like a little damp cloth and wipe it away, or you could spray it and let it dry. Or the mark be gone, which is all. This is water soluble. So this is the purple is air and water soluble. Then that's why I said if it doesn't disappear on its own by just the air, then you have to wet it. Or the blue one, which is water soluble. So I use the purple one because it's darker. I haven't bought any chalk yet. I know a lot of people use chalk, which it's really nice. I mean, I just haven't bought it. I was like, oh, that looks really great. And they come in their cute little holders, and you fit, and it's thin. It's like a what is it? A tailor's chalk or something like that. A sewer's chalk. I don't know. Anywho, I'd probably get it just to have it in my arsenal of supplies and tools, but I haven't done it yet. All right, so we're gonna come down. Oh dear. All right, so we're gonna come down to 7 1/4 right here, and then we're gonna come in. That's the middle line. So if I'm coming over 4 inches from the center of the button, I have to make sure that that 4 inches lines up with that first dot. So we're looking at right about here. And let me see. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do 4 inches here. And you know what? For this, let me see. Let me go from here. Let me see what it does. This is about 7 inches. So 3.5 is the center. All right, so I'm gonna take it not necessarily from the actual the thread where the button is sewn, but actually here where this little portion of the shirt ends, because it gives me a true idea of how much space is here, and I really like to float the graphic like in the center. So this ends up being 7, which just gives me 3.5 as the middle point. And that makes me happy. I mean, I could do like right here, which is fine too. Maybe that's what we'll do. No, because I really like the way that looks. Let me see. I'm feeling that. I'm like really feeling that. I feel like that's the middle. Oh, you do this one and don't realize it. Let me see. It looks like I already measured this and then it was like, let me see, how far down was that? That was, I see. Oh, that's because we chose the higher one. Okay. So sorry guys. I saw a dot. I'm like, man, it looks like I've already done this, and I did obviously because there's hoop burn on this, and that's another thing. You're gonna get hoop burn when you use hoops that are not mighty hoops. You use a traditional hoop, you'll get hoop burn, but that comes up with some steam or a little bit of moisture. You'll be fine. Just don't panic. Just don't panic. All right. So the higher position is where we went, and I want to go. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. But I said 3 1/4. Okay, so no, we're good. I mean 3.5. Sorry. Ooh, I said the wrong thing, y'all. Okay, so we got 3.5. I think that looks good. You know what? I'm gonna bring it 1 point in front of that because I want to bring 1 point in front of it. I don't. I'm feeling some kind of way about this, y'all. What am I gonna do? Okay. Final answer. Final answer is that we are going to do we're going to do right here, right over here in this area. Okay, so we're good. So that's done. I feel good about my decision. And I was very heavy-handed with the dot because I want to see it on the front. So I can see it here. Okay. So we'll do that. And we'll get to laying down this stabilizer. Now you can buy adhesive, I think it's like adhesive back stabilizer. I think you press it with a little mini iron or something. I don't want to do that. I don't. It's my decision, my stuff. You could do it. Some people they keep their irons out because depending on the type of work you do, kind of jobs and stuff, orders and all that good stuff. You might be like, well, I need to do this. Oh, another thing I do, ladies and gentlemen, is because I get a little OCD sometimes. My husband may not believe that, but he's really the king of OCD. But anywho, I digress. Love you, babe. So I fold this in half so I can find the middle point. So I line the middle of my rectangular folds to the center of my little dot. And then I open it up like this. And that lets me know that I'm dead center on the, what you call it. And then I can still see the dot, but if I really wanted to, just to make myself feel better, I could do a new dot. Just to give me a gauge and do it again. But I do it now the other way. Okay, so. Alright, so I don't know why all of a sudden I can't fold. I just folded something a few seconds ago. Alright, so we're gonna just a little bit. Okay, so this is a temporary bond. Let's just go over this real quick because some people are like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? This eliminates pinning and will not gum up. Oh, lost my microphone. Sorry. It says eliminates pinning, will not gum up. Or is it pining? I don't know. I promise you, I can read, but don't ask me to answer. Will not gum up needles. So I am light-handed with this when I use my adhesive, but and I don't worry too much because I have been using this for a while and I haven't had any issues where there's so much of it, that it really causes me any issues. Now don't get me wrong, if I got real, heavy-handed and I'm like all over the place with it, then yeah, I'm kind of like, okay, we're gonna have to change out the needle or something, so it just depends. But okay, so this is down, it's not going to shift. So now when I go to start hooping, it doesn't move on me. I don't have to worry about, oh, place this down, then put this on top of it, then this, that, and the other. So yeah, this is going to be okay. I roll up the bottom of my shirt because it makes it easier for me to get to the area I'm going to hoop. I just, I try my best to do whatever needs to be done to make the process way more efficient. And because the more efficient you are with the tools you have at hand, the better, the process will be. I hoop this way, so that means that this end is going to go into the machine. So I have to make sure the graphic is rotated so but you'll see when I do it. Also, these things right here, I gotta figure out which way is to loosen. So when I put it on there, ooh, this is not that. All right, so let's see. This one is going loose. This goes tight. So I like to be able to do this and loosen. So this is going to be the side, and it goes in. All right. So, excuse me, guys. I'm running on coffee fumes on a banana. That's not very. It's not really good to do. You need to nourish yourself. Anyway, so yeah, if all you do is eat a banana and some coffee, and then you wait 3 hours, your body's like, mm-mm. All right, so this makes me feel good. I feel like that's centered. See? And that's kind of it. Like, I mean, unless I feel like I need to make sure this thing is, um, make sure this is straight. I'm gonna move my little measuring this over here. All right, so also want to make sure that my shirt is still straight. Like, what good is it if it's not straight? You're gonna be looking like a fool, like Boo Boo the fool. And then off sending. Well, I'm not gonna send it off. God forbid. I'd be mortified, even if it is my brother. Oh my God. But yeah, no. Make sure your shirt is straight, like as you're hooping. Like, okay. So this is straight to me. This looks kind of good. This looks kind of good. Okay. So I think that's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So see, my stabilizer's already in there, doing what it needs to do. It's right here, so I could pull on it and the shirt, and I know my shirt is getting taut. The other thing I learned the hard way is that you need to pull in the directions that the shirt is woven. So if you overextend the shirt from left to right versus up and down, man, you're gonna be mad because that thing's gonna come out looking crazy. It's gonna be fibers gonna be separated between, especially if you have a graphic with a small details. Um, like what is this? So yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't do that at all. Just don't. Okay. All right. So okay, I feel better about this. I'm trying to make sure the fibers are up and down, and they're not. And they're not. So that's what I'm doing, y'all. So just don't mind me as adjusting. Let's see. So if this is straight, those need to be straight, and that wasn't straight. So let's do it this way. Is this straight? Is those straight? Kind of, sorta. Okay, I think we got it. Perfect. Okay, so we're good. So now I'm going to tighten it, and I'm just pulling it taut. So there's no, and it's not that you don't pull in this direction and that direction. You just don't over pull, because if you over pull, it pulls your fiber. It warps the run of the weave of the shirt. Like it starts to do this. Whereas if you pull this way, it it doesn't put as much stress on the material. And you have a better stitch out. So just things to think about. All right, so I'm just gonna pull this way just a little. Oh no! Another thing is I have this a little too loose, guys. So don't mind me. Let me tighten this because that's the other thing. When I went to put this in here straight, it helps when your bottom hoop isn't too loose, because you do want it loose enough that you could get the top portion of the hoop into it. But y'all, you just don't want it too loose, because then you're like, it defeats it actually makes it harder for you to get everything kind of like tight initially when you first put them together. Like you do want to do some subsequent tightening or pulling of the material, tautening, whatever you want to call it. Listen, I make up words. Y'all gonna have to get used to this. I make up words sometimes. But I call things thingamajiggy all the time. But okay, so I feel good about this. I don't feel like when you get that little drum sound, that's when you know you got it. You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. Okay, so this is good. Hopefully when I go to do my needle position test, it's not like bumping all over the place. It won't. I'm gauging the center, this little dot, to be lined up with the center of this. And it could be pushed down just a tiny bit more. You see. I feel like that's better, actually. Okay. Yeah, that's better. So I make sure, I kind of have like, this is the middle. and the line and the dot is lined up with the middle. You know, that it's that kind of thing. It's lined up with the middle. Even if it's off just a little tiny bit, it's okay. You still have enough room that once you do your your laser test, if you have a machine that offers a laser, but whatever feature that you're, whether it's a single needle or a multi-needle, offers to help you figure out if you are in the right vicinity, I feel confident enough that when I do that test on my machine, that this little bit, even if it's off by a little bit, it'll still be enough room for this to do what it needs. But it's enough room for the machine to do what it needs to do. So I still feel good about this. All that to say, I still feel good about this, about placement. As tedious as this can be sometimes. Okay, so we got this pulled, got this put in. Okay, I'm feeling good about this. I'm gonna pull this a little bit over here. Let's see. All right. I also feel like, I mean, for this particular size hoop, I feel like I'm saving money on, because that's the other thing about being a business owner. Yo, we gotta spread your coin as much as possible. So by taking these just happen to be a little too big, but it's a good thing because I'm able to kind of manipulate them in a way that helps me to save a few pennies here and there. And you know, every bit helps, counts, whatever you want to call it. So, all right. So let me make sure this is definitely as tight as we need it. Because I'm happy with the placement of the hoop and the garment. Let's do a little test. Okay, we got that little drum sound going, so that means it's good. All right, so let's go over here. Let's check on. Ooh, I am making a mess with my other hoop. What fell really? I'm almost like, what's that noise? It's called your hoop. Okay. Hoops are secured. I think. Okay. Take this off. Just make sure this looks okay. I am very happy with this. This came out better than the other one. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm happy. All right, let me go check on a few things, guys, before I get the machine running. Let's see what's going on. Oh, boy. Let's see. I have no clue. I also want to make sure there were no comments or anything like that. I don't know what that means. All right, so we're good here. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and get this popping. So as I was telling you, I had the shirt rolled up, so it just makes it easy for me to feed the shirt onto the machine. I mean, you don't gotta do that, but you know, do what helps you be efficient, because efficiency is important. It helps you save money. It helps you move quicker. All that good stuff. All right, so what we're gonna do is, okay, I'm feeling good with this. Okay, so I need this to match up with this line, and it's literally like a smidge off. So let me see. All right, so we're kind of good. Okay, all right, I'm happy there. So let's do another test just in case. Okay, we're good. Now the other thing I have to do is I have to come out of embroidery mode because I have to set the graphic, and it's not gonna. It has to be upside down. Let's see. Nope, nope, that ain't it. Maybe that's it. Let's hit okay. Nope, that's not it. All right, let's keep adjusting. Nope, nope, maybe. What's this? Bam. Okay, so we got it. All right, we're good there. That's where it needs to be. That's the center. Let's make sure the center hasn't shifted in some magical way, because if it did, I'd be upset. And if we come this way, I have to go this way because it moves it that way. Okay, so let's go back into embroidery mode. Let's make sure my thread is set up, and it's not. That's so annoying. Okay, so I don't really need to do no, 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 nope. That's the wrong button. Okay. Okay, thanks. I just needed one. All right, so I think that's good. We're just doing white for the first. It has two stops. This particular logo has two stops. I just designed it that way. I built this with some font that I purchased from a third party off of Etsy. So, but when I laced together, I made sure that the first portion was one and the second was, another. But it's not gonna stop. But for right now, it will stop when it's for me to come and be like, oh, look, you're okay, kind of thing. But it's not gonna pull out like if it was like an applique thing. But we'll work on that one too because applique. I don't really do a lot of baby stuff, even though it's so cute. I have a son. I have a 4-year-old son, and I also have a my baby girl's 9. But I did one applique for my son. I was still learning, but I also did it on my single needle. It wasn't on this big machine. So, all right, y'all. Wish me luck. Let's just one more time, just make sure I ain't jacking stuff up. We're using a ballpoint needle, and okay, let's just do this. Guys, I forgot. I actually put my machine on automatic. So when the first stitch out, the first part of the stitch out was completed, it continued on its own. Had I put it on manual, then it would have required me to come back to the machine and hit the start button to make it do the second part of the stitch out. So forgive me, I it was incorrect when I said that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these knocked out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We really appreciate you and watching and your support. Any questions, please put them down in the comments. We will get back to you typically within 24 hours, business hours, if not sooner. But yeah, any questions we can help with, we really don't mind at all, actually. But yeah, have a great day. Stay motivated. And see you in the next video. Bye.